A month seems like a really long time until it's over. I clearly remember landing in London on August 1st thinking, wow, we have so much time here. We have a whole month. This is never going to end. And now it's 2 seconds later and I'm back in my room in Madison and it's like we literally just left. So now that I graduated high school, my family finally had an opportunity to go back to Lithuania after being away for 5 years. For those of you that don't know, I was born there and lived there for a few years before immigrating to the United States, and every single one of my extended family members lives either in Lithuania or somewhere else in Europe. We figured if we were going to go all the way to Europe, we might as well visit some other places there, so we bought plane tickets to England and started there. We spent just a few days in London, but even in that short time, we kind of developed a routine and it felt like a home. What a lovely view. We learned how to navigate the buses and trains to get into the city, and even though we had about a 45-minute ride into the city every single day, there and back, it was so new to me that I never got sick of it, although I'm sure that local Londoners can't stand riding the tube. We tried some English food, spoiler, kind of disappointing, but we did have bubble tea every evening, so it was okay. I picked up quite a liking for coffee, as well as the habit of saying quiet every other sentence. To make up for the fact that this trip kept me from seeing Bring the Soul in theaters, I recreated some of the photos that BTS have taken in London. A true army never really takes a vacation. Then we woke up in the middle of the night to take a train underwater to Brussels and then a rental car to Paris. We stayed in Montmartre, I don't know how to say it, neighborhood in a hotel that had the nicest and most cheerful receptionist to ever exist. In Paris, I got to hang out with a friend of mine who happened to be in Paris at the same time and staying in the same neighborhood. And as much as it had been nice to spend time with my dad and brother, it was a relief to finally talk to someone my own age. I had baguettes and cheese and crepes and wine and hot chocolate and was absolutely blown away by the beauty of the Eiffel Tower. Actually, all of Paris was so unbelievably beautiful, and if it wasn't so damn expensive and if I spoke French, I probably would want to live there. My favorite part might have been the 2 times that I got to walk home by myself after my friend and I went our separate ways to the different hotels we were staying at. It was just this moment of like not being able to believe that I was actually in Paris, walking the streets of Paris on my own. I took this photo to try and capture my happiness in that moment, but I don't know if it conveys that to anyone viewing it except me, but yeah, in that moment I just felt very, very happy. Then it was time to spend many, many hours in a car, but it wasn't too bad because I am known for making sick road trip playlists, and the car rental gods blessed us with a modern car that had Bluetooth connectivity. So we first stopped by Luxembourg City, which is not a city in my opinion. It has to be a movie set. I thought it was too clean, too nice, too perfect, too pretty. It honestly was kind of weird. I like taking photos there, but I don't think I would want to live there, and I don't even know if I would want to go on vacation there. My first impression of Prague was fantastic because we literally just booked a cheap hotel that we could find in the city, and we got upgraded for free to a loft room, which was an absolute slice of heaven after sitting in a car for so long that my butt got sore. In Prague, we climbed a lot of hills, a lot of stairs, saw a lot of great views, ate some chimney cake, and got soaked in more rainwater than I ever have in my entire life. When we finally got to Lithuania, I thought it would be weird to step into my grandma's apartment after not being there for 5 years, but it felt the same as ever. We were spoiled with the best of homemade Lithuanian cuisine for 2 weeks straight, and I wanted to cry at how simple a nice slice of rye bread with Lithuanian butter was. I didn't really cry, but you should really try European butter because it is superior. Also, European cakes are superior. Anyways, my daily routine at my grandma's place consisted mainly of eating, sleeping, and then going to the grocery store to get more Lithuanian food so that I could eat some more. It was great. I did do a few productive things over the course of the trip, mainly photo editing that I had to do, but I also learned the value of just doing nothing. When we did venture outside, we explored the hometown where my parents grew up, and we also visited some other bigger cities. In Druskininkai, I got to see my great aunt, my great uncle, my first cousin once removed, who's also my godfather, and then my second step cousin. We visited Grutos Park, which is a sculpture garden of Soviet-era sculptures. We also visited a musical fountain they had there, a cemetery, and surprise, surprise, ate even more food. On another day, we visited Trakai, which is like this fairy tale magical looking city where it's basically an island of castles surrounded by water. I visited that place many times, but for the first time we tried paddle boating there, so we paddle boated. I saw my life flash before my eyes when a group of swans started chasing us.
Why is everyone after?
But it turns out Lithuanian swans are actually pretty friendly, so I did not get attacked by swans. Most importantly, we visited Vilnius a couple of times. Why most importantly? Because it is the capital city, it is the largest city, and it's also the city where I happen to be born. We drove past our old apartment, my parents' dorm room, the hospital where I was born, and I almost cried. Vilnius has changed a lot, and I didn't expect it to be so beautiful and feel so global, if that makes sense. Whenever people would ask me if I would ever consider moving back to Lithuania, I'd always adamantly say nope, but now I'm not so sure. Saying goodbye to everyone was really, really hard. Before this trip, I hadn't cried in a really long time, and so it was kind of nice to know that my emotions were functioning, I guess. I don't know, that might sound weird.
All I ever do is wait for you, wait for you. All I ever do is wait for you, wait for you.
So after Lithuania, we went to Berlin, where we visited the Berlin Wall and the Berlin Mall. Get it? It rhymes. We also stopped by Amsterdam, which was insanely pretty, and it pains me to say that we stopped by these cities because these cities deserve so much more than just a stopping by for 3 or 4 hours. So we enjoyed them as much as we could, but after that, we had a very stressful trip to Brussels because we missed our train, and that was very, very costly. We definitely got ripped off, but it was kind of a lesson, I guess. Always show up very early to wherever you need to be. And then we got a good night's sleep in London before staying awake for a full 24 hours as we made our way back to Madison. So now I'm back home. I'm really happy to be back in my routines, back in my extremely comfy bed that I missed so, so much. This past month was not always easy, but I gained so much from it. As someone who immigrated at a young age, I never really had the tradition of seeing my cousins and my grandparents for holidays. And I'm definitely not complaining because I'm so lucky that I got to move to the United States, but just because of the way that things worked out where I didn't see my family for 4 years and then another 4 years and then 5 years. Family was never a super prominent aspect in my life. That sounds kind of bad, but that's the way it was. And so seeing everyone again just reminded me of how important these people are. I also got a lot closer to my brother. We still got annoyed at each other a lot, but because we spent so much time together and didn't have anyone else to talk to, I feel like our senses of humor kind of merged and became the same. And so we actually got along really well and laughed a lot together. So that was nice. And lastly, I think I learned how to not always be doing things. It was difficult for me and I would feel guilty when I was just sitting around not really doing anything, but as with anything, I got better at it with practice. I got better at sleeping without an alarm and eating a slow breakfast and lingering at the table and taking naps just because I felt like it, and I think it was good for me. So to sum it up, I am extremely lucky and privileged that I got to take this trip with my family, and I'm so, so grateful for it. Even though I left it many years ago, Lithuania will always be my home, and it's always good to visit home. And who knows, I might live in Europe sometime in the future, and I would not cross out the possibility of that place being Lithuania. So yeah, that's it for this video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you on Friday.